Yo guys, GC here. Welcome back to another video. So today's video, I wasn't actually gonna make it to be honest, but the problem is I just had enough, guys. Look, I had enough of this kind of bigotry, open bigotry, and like people seeking validation for their bigotry, and that's just unacceptable. I don't care where it comes from. Is it like a some kind of stranger on the internet, or in this particular case, it's a family member? I really don't care where it comes from. Um, Look, very quick point on the family point, family members, right? So a lot of people say, like, well, you know, like it's a family member, so you should give them more respect. But I'm like, why? Just because they're family members, they automatically deserve more respect? Why? How does that work? Um, I know that, look, probably, even not in every case, but probably the parents took care of you, etc., etc. And that's fine, you know. But at the end of the day, though, that's what they're supposed to do. That's just what they're supposed to do. So if they don't want to take care of anybody, then don't have kids. It's as simple as that. If you have kids, then you have to take care of them. So I don't view that as some kind of virtue or something that I have to respect in particular. Moreover, and this is maybe a more important point, family, look, that just means like you have the same blood. That's all. That's really all there is to it. It just means like the same kind of blood flows through you guys, and that's all. It doesn't have any other meaning whatsoever. Blood itself has no IQ, as far as I know. It has really nothing, no characteristics other than just being red and white cells, you know? Um, so blood, yeah, family just makes you blood related, but that's all. You can have wacky family members, you can have alcoholic family members, you could have some who are killers, etc., etc., etc. And so today the video is about one of my family members, and I actually had another video last year I wanted to publish, and I do have it. I just didn't publish it yet. And that one was my family member went on this kind of huge rant about Joe Biden. And look, the interesting thing is that a lot of people think like Biden is not a good president, okay? But if you ask them why, the reasons are usually always different. Now, if you ask me, look, we have to just be fair about his presidency, right? There are some good things and there are some bad things. But if I had to pick like one, the worst thing that he did, for me, it would have to be his support for Israel and against Gaza, right? So for me, that is the biggest point. I know that some people complain about the withdrawal from Afghanistan, and I can also kind of see that point, although I disagree. I'm sorry, but that had to be done, man. If it's not under Biden, it would have happened at some point. We can't stay there forever. Like, for what? What are we doing there exactly? And in the previous video, I outlined more of that. So, like, if people are really curious about the previous video, I'll be happy to upload it. It's just like right now, I don't know, it's not really a priority. But if people want it, I will definitely upload it because in that one, I went into much more depth than I want to go in today. Okay. He did a lot of good economic stuff though, that gets kind of forgotten. And also he preserved basic rights like rights to abortion, etc., etc., which are important. I mean, look, I don't know what's the ratio of women versus men in the US, but I'm pretty sure it's like fairly equal. I mean, it's probably not like an exact 50-50, but I'm pretty sure it's fairly even. So if you don't protect the rights of women, you basically fuck half of your population right there. You just like, okay. And we already see that since Trump became president, even like back in November, uh, we already saw this kind of people coming online and they're like really proud of that fact. And so other people actually say, oh, I actually don't give a shit about who is president. And this actually goes back to probably something that George Carlin was saying like 20, 30, 40 years ago. But the thing is, like, look, George Carlin is a good comedian, don't get me wrong, but even he could not foresee Trump. Trump is like a different level, guys. Like, look, you can't just compare. This is a completely different level, and maybe people still don't realize that in 2025, which is pretty sad. But I'm pretty sure they will realize it by the end of 2028. Okay, it's just like people were excited about Trump in 2016, and as soon as he started to enact some policies, his popularity started going down, 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 down. So, yeah. But today, I want to look at an email I got from a family member, from that family member. And, well, you tell me if this kind of language is even acceptable in the modern era. So let's have a look. All right, guys. So this is an email. This is an actual email. I have the proof, obviously. This is an actual email from one of my family members. Not gonna specifically say which one yet, unless shit really hits the fan. Uh, I look. The email itself is in Russian, but I translated it, obviously, and probably some people are already reading it while I'm talking. Um, I'm an American myself, but my family is from Russia. Okay, so that's why. Well, one of my family members, especially, always writes to me in Russian, and then my other one writes in English usually, even though they're both Russian. But for me, like, it's just easier to be in English because I can't type actually in Russian. I don't have a Russian keyboard, so I don't know. This is just pointless. But anyway, so here's the email. I'm just going to read the English translation because you guys don't need to care about the Russian one. And this is what she said. Today is Trump's inauguration. Interesting. What will he whip up over there? One thing that makes me happy is seemingly there is hope. The madness over transgender and LGBTQ, gender change, and other abominations, which was so zealously imposed by the same mentally ill. Look, guys, I don't even know what to reply to this. I don't know what to reply to this. In fact, I didn't. And so what ended up happening is that I got another email about 4 days later, and I'll just show you quickly the other side of it. And that's just over here. It basically says, hello, is everything all right? You're not answering my email. I wonder why. I wonder why I'm not answering that email. Look, guys, this is, let's just state the fact first, okay? This is a Russian person. Well, okay, now they also have French citizenship, but this is not an American citizen, okay? And probably in that case, thank God for that, because we don't need any more of these freaking nutcases in our country. Enough of them already here. We don't need other people coming in and adding to it, adding fuel to the fire. So that person cannot vote in America. Okay, so in that sense, it's irrelevant. But I find it interesting, and this is not the first time. Okay, this is not the first case I see of foreigners who are really, really supporting Trump. Now, they do it for various reasons. I had before one guy, and he was supporting Trump just because Trump is a macho kind of guy. Like he pushes delegates out of the way, and he's like fuck you kind of guy. And yeah, so that was his reason. And then there are people like that, like here in the email, who absolutely adore Trump and the conservatives for being like anti-LGBTQ, anti-transgender, and they even use words like these are abominations. And also, it's funny that in this case, she says this was all kind of zealously imposed by, she's mentioning like kind of the Biden administration, the Democrats, basically. which is such bullshit anyway. Look, guys, it's true that I don't live in the US. I live in Japan. And okay, I do watch sometimes like TV shows or whatever from the States, of course. I'm not really aware of like the commercials these days, so I don't know what they're showing, but I can guess it's kind of the same thing as when I was there. So it's like fast food, probably a lot of medication, medicine, etc., etc. I really highly doubt, like 99.99%, I doubt that there are commercials like, "Hey, you gotta be gay. Gay is cool." I really just I I'm sorry, but this is some kind of this is some kind of boogeyman that they found. This is like a strawman argument, you know? This is just not real. Just because some people talk about the topic, it doesn't mean that everybody is talking about the topic. Because if you're talking about LGBT community, this is the minority of people. This is a minority. This is not the majority. I don't know how many people classify themselves as LGBTQ in the States. I think it's like 6 or 7%. Like, I don't think it's more than that. So it's definitely a minority of minority. Okay. This is really, and they're right to make noise because for hundreds and thousands of years, they've been marginalized. They've been, like beaten up, spit on, their rights have been stripped, etc., etc. So they absolutely have a right to ask for equal rights. Now, if they're asking for more rights than other people, well, maybe, yeah, maybe even I have an issue in that case. But if you're just asking for equal rights, same rights as I have absolutely zero problem with that. And in fact, they should have those rights. Absolutely. They should have the right to marry and not like a not like a fake marriage. You know what I mean? Like in Japan, for example, they always kind of dodge this topic. They always say, "Oh yeah, yeah, we have gay marriage," but actually, it's not really the case here. It's like you don't get the same rights as a heterosexual couple. You can get married, yes, but it's not recognized as a heterosexual couple. It's just not. That's just a fact. Not yet, anyway. I know they're moving in that direction slowly because everything in Japan moves extremely slowly. It's like watching a glacier melt, you know? It just takes forever, seriously. But I can definitely understand why they want equal rights, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. So just that the fact that she uses the word abomination in that email, it tells me everything I need to know about her. Now, the other problem is, so like I said, like she's not an American citizen, so she will never be able to vote in our elections, okay? And that's a great thing. We need to definitely just these people like should stay away from our elections because a lot of that comes from religion. A lot of that comes from religion. Religion tells you to hate gay people, etc., etc. In fact, the word abomination is used in the Bible. Okay, so it's not a surprise that these people even use the same language in daily life. Okay, so that's about her. But unfortunately, coming back to the States, and I know this as well, we also have tens of millions of people in the country who think the same way as my family member in this case. The exact same language is used. These are abominations, monsters. Um, they should be like eradicated, eliminated. Gender is fake because they still confuse. Like, yeah, I don't even know like when we introduced the concept of gender, but it's been a while ago already. It doesn't matter. It's been like several years already, but it doesn't matter. They still confuse sex and gender because they refuse to learn new things. In the case of my family member, I think she's like 68 or 69 now. So, old people, they don't really change, right? It's like teaching tricks to an old dog. It's like, good luck. But I think like in the States, it's actually the same thing. It's mostly old people especially old religious people who try to fuck things up for the rest of us, who try to fuck things up for young people, etc., etc. It's just about me, 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 and as long as I get my share of the pie, I don't care about the others. Maybe they if they don't get any share of the pie, I don't care. I got my share. So this is kind of the attitude that people have, and it's not just in the States, it's kind of everywhere. Look, it's a generational problem. Like old people uh, generally are more conservative. They care about things that were important to them when they were younger, the issues that were around when they were like in their 20s and the 30s, and they still care about those issues. And just maybe to go on a tangent a little bit, it's even the same when you talk about science, because if you ask them questions about science, what do you think about kind of like the universe and like kind of black holes, etc., etc. Their answer is usually something that they learned 40 or 50 years ago, which maybe was good enough at that time. But guess what? Science moves all the time. Science moves forward every day, every second, even. So we have new knowledge, we have new data, and we have adjusted certain concepts, let's say. So definitely your knowledge in 2025 is not the same as it was in 1975. But these people refuse to budge. They just refuse. I don't know why exactly. I'm not a psychologist, but they just refuse to learn new things. But I think that's actually, I think I can explain it relatively easily, and I think that's laziness. Because yeah, when you go to school, when you go to university, you have to learn something. That's kind of what you have to do as a student, right? But after you graduate, though, there's that pressure is gone. So, of course, you should learn new things, but that's kind of on you. That pressure that you have to go to school every day or university every day and sit in the lecture house, that's gone. So, the learning process is entirely up to you. And I think, like in that case, just most people don't do it. They just don't do it. Look, I'm sure, I'm absolutely convinced that's the case, actually, because people just don't have the time most of the time. They have to go to work, and then they start a family, and they're just busy kind of dealing with that, and they don't have time to sit down and watch some kind of educational video. Most of the time, if they have a choice between educational video and entertainment video, they will go for the entertainment video. Okay, and that's why we end up in the mess we're in today. And that's also a societal problem. I wish we moved to, for example, a 4-day work week, and in that case, hopefully people can use at least that one extra day to learn things, and then the other 2 days you can continue doing your regular weekend activities, but spend at least one day learning new things. It will really help. It will really help society if everybody becomes more educated, not in just one narrow field, which seems to be the case these days, but kind of in a bit of everything, so that you don't say ignorant things like that person did in this email. So, and then they wonder why I don't reply. Look, guys, I don't know, but with Trump in power, we're gonna have 4 years of this bullshit, okay? And there's these kind of bigots, they're gonna be out in the open. And even worse, they're gonna be supported by the so-called president of this nation. Not just hey, maybe you shouldn't say that, maybe you should be a bit kinder. No, no, no. He's going to support these people. He's going to say, oh, yeah, good job. We should absolutely discriminate against the LGBT community. We should marginalize them. Fuck the transgender people. Gender is not real, etc., etc. We're gonna get 4 fucking years of that. Is that what you fucking morons wanted? Is that what you wanted? Well, congratulations, because that's what you're gonna get.